Jurassic World Rebirth comes out in less than 2 months, and the filmmakers have just revealed a ton of new information about the movie, along with an official rating, and there's even some evidence to support that a sequel is about to be put in development if the film winds up being well received. Now, I'm not going to be going over any spoilers, of course, because the article gave a lot away, but with so much info coming out for the film, I wanted to talk about something that I think may help us gauge our expectations. What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now, for today's video, we need to talk about some of the new shots that have come out for Jurassic World Rebirth, as well as some of the information they released for the movie, including this rating for the film. Jurassic World Rebirth is going to be rated PG-13, not R, so it's just going to be like all of the other Jurassic Park films, but it's for some pretty different reasons listed. If we take a look at the other films in this franchise, Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom were rated for, quote, intense sequences of science fiction violence and peril, while Jurassic World Dominion was rated for intense sequences of action with some violence and language. Now, the original Jurassic Park movie from 1993 was rated PG-13 for intense science fiction terror, and both the Lost World Jurassic Park and JP3 were rated for the same thing as Jurassic Park 1, only with the added rating of violence. Now, needless to say, the older 1990s days are long gone, and I think the older films come off way more intense than some of the newer stuff. So it's probably going to take a lot to make a newer sequel feel like the older material again. With that being said, Jurassic World Rebirth is being rated for the following: intense sequences of violence and action, bloody images, which is the first time that's come up in any of these movies, some suggestive references, language, and a drug reference. Now, that's a big change in the rating for this movie compared to all of the other films. And truly, I think if the Mombasa bar sequence was left in the Lost World Jurassic Park, it might have had a similar rating, but back in the 1990s, you had a lot of gnarly stuff, and they never mentioned bloody images for any of the T-Rex attack sequences or anything like that. So I think this new rating could tell us that we may actually be getting a film steered back in the direction of the older Jurassic Park material. But hey, we still need to see the movie in order to make that kind of an assessment. Not that we don't have a whole bunch of stuff to go off of with these new images. So look, first of all, we've got this Quetzalcoatlus attack. Scarlett Johansson looks to be in a lot of action scenes in this movie, but this one in particular has a ton of images getting released of her both scaling the side of a cliff and attempting to save Dr. Henry Loomis while the animal attacks. Speaking of which, this is a scene that, when put into the context of the rest of the scenes that they've released images of, it actually looks like it's foreshadowing the kind of Jurassic Park story that we're going to see. And my overall theory when it comes to Jurassic World Rebirth as a whole is that this movie is David Koepp basically adapting Michael Crichton's second book, The Lost World. Now, if you're someone who has never read the Jurassic Park novels, you may say, but hey, wait a minute, I thought they already did that with the second movie that is called The Lost World. But no, not at all, actually. The second Jurassic Park film really bears very little to no resemblance to the author's book. There is some stuff that's taken from it, but the story and narrative and even characters and overall, it's just not the book. While this movie's overall structure and what's included in it as far as action sequences and stuff like that, it looks to me at least like they very much are trying to readapt Michael Crichton's novel by fitting it into the Jurassic World series. Scaling the side of a cliff, hunting for dinosaur eggs, that stuff is an obvious adaptation from the source material that I think needs to be accounted for. But there's also this shot of Scarlett's character of Zora Bennett underneath the new electric Jeep vehicle while, you know, someone's carrying a case right beside it. If you've read The Lost World, this looks awfully familiar to something that goes down between Dr. Sarah Harding and Lewis Dodson in the book. Let's see if one of the characters rolls underneath it. Or, I mean, already me, it looks very, very similar to the book. There are other things that are leading me to believe this is a soft readaptation of The Lost World, such as the extinction motif from the mainland, the fact that a boat takes them to the island, only this time more than one person falls in the water, and of course there's the concept of a hidden island in general that we previously have not heard about up until now. Replace Zora Bennett with Dr. Sarah Harding, Dr. Loomis with someone like Richard Levine, or maybe even the family in the movie with Arby and Kelly, and I genuinely think you've got some similarities here. So if you are a hardcore Jurassic Park fan that has read the books, of course they're not going to have the same names or be the same characters or even the same species, but it does look like the structure of the story is Michael Crichton's Lost World novel. Now, other images released for the film contain a gloomy look at the facilities on the island and Zora Bennett looking down a corridor like she's Ellen Ripley about to go look for Newt at the end of Aliens or something. Gareth Edwards is seen here with a large Parasaurolophus carcass in the scene that we already know has been lifted from the first Michael Crichton novel, but there's also one specific moment in the article that they revealed that to me it sounds way too much like the famous worker village scene in the Lost World book. Albeit there's no mention of Carnotaurus, but yeah, I gotta say guys, this looks like it's going to be the Lost World novel. So in preparation for the film, if you've never read that book before, do yourselves a favor, go back and actually read the Lost World book. That way by the time all of us watch this movie, we can know whether or not that's like what David Koepp was aiming for when he came back. Along with a lot of the early ideas they had for Jurassic Park 2 that were thrown out the window, like the giant Ultimasaurus-esque messed up T-Rex or even the Superraptor. There's even a scene with some sauropods that is lifted straight from one of his earlier drafts of the Lost World Jurassic Park movie. So one of the most interesting things we read in the article, it sounds obvious, but they do say that Frank Marshall is interested in making another sequel. He doesn't know if the cast will come back, but he would love for them to. David Koepp himself says there's been zero talks of like what they could do with the next one, but he's set the pieces up in a way that this movie he thinks is going really well, and we all know that they want to keep making more of these. Like, it's very obvious that the Jurassic Park franchise is very lucrative and there's no reason for them to want to stop making sequels. But yeah, I think I can speak for everyone. If the movies aren't good, there's no real reason to like keep denigrating the franchise's actual reputation. So I'm hoping that with Jurassic World Rebirth, they actually do knock it out of the park, because we all know they want to make another one, and I would actually not only like to see the cast return if we all end up enjoying the film, but how about Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill? How about Laura Dern or even Julianne Moore? Lex and Tim. The possibilities are limitless with a good Jurassic Park story, and it does look like they're going back and actually trying to recapture the ideas of Michael Crichton in this film. All in all, this does seem to be a much more serious sequel than I think I would have even expected after the last movie. Now, all of the information they released comes from the Empire article, and there are a ton of really cool looking shots that make the film look like a really solid blockbuster, and I'm hoping that the movie pulls everything off, because Jurassic Park desperately needs a good sequel to be kept alive. With all of that being said, guys, what are your thoughts on this information? How do you think Jurassic World Rebirth is going to go down? Do you agree with me that it's going to be the Lost World novel, like readapted? Or do you think something completely different? Whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear all about them in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I want to thank everyone that's helped me build my channel over the years. I'd also like to thank every one of you guys who've watched my stuff. You've all been extremely cool to me. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and hope that you'll consider subscribing. God bless you all. Christ is King. See you guys in the next video, and as always, take it easy.